Hi all. Let me discuss the Frankfurt School of Critical Theory in this video, which is essentially in understanding the essay, the culture industry, enlightenment as mass deception, which is there in our syllabus, an essay written by Theodore Adorno and Max Horkheimer together in the work The Dialectic of Enlightenment. So, the Frankfurt School of Critical Theory, the Frankfurt School, or more appropriately known as critical theory, or also known as the Frankfurt School of Critical Theory, is a philosophical and sociological movement, and has been can be considered as a neo-Marxian school of thought, with their observations on various issues ranging from media, sociology, culture, things like that. And the Frankfurt School has been, got wider attention in the cultural studies point of view as well. So originally located at the Institute for Social Research, an attached institute at the Goethe University in Frankfurt and Germany. So it was situated in Germany, and as an institute of social thought, it was founded in 1923. And in 1930, Max Horkheimer became the director of the institute. And that time period, after 1933, the Nazis forced disclosure. It moved to Geneva, and 2 years later, it moved to New York in affiliation with the Columbia University. In 1953, well after the war, the institute was re-established in Frankfurt. So, this is a short history of the Frankfurt School. The major figures associated with the School of Thought is Max Horkheimer, who was the first director, born in 1895 and died in 1973. Theodore Adorno, a very crucial figure, an important figure. Herbert Marcuse, Walter Benjamin, Frederick Pollock, Leo Leventhal, Eric Fromm, etc. And in the second generation, we have Jurgen Habermas, Richard Bernstein, and there is a third generation as well with the two divisions within it. So, you know, along with these other figures like Georgie Lucas, etc., also contributed, or they are also influential in the formation of, or now in the backdrop, as a backdrop, we can see all these Marxian thinkers and so on are very much crucial in understanding the school of thought. So, the historical incidents that affected the rise of the school include the rise of capitalism's mass production techniques, which they criticized, the mass production or the mass industry or mass culture, which they criticized. The birth of Hollywood, World War I, the failed German Revolution, the Soviet experiment, the Weimar Republic, and the rise of Hitler, the Holocaust, the era of mass European exile, sexual liberation movements, the singing of 60s and student radicalisms, Germany's post-war travails, the rise and fall of the Berlin Wall. All these influenced the theory. So when they were studying their early associations, especially theorizations by Theodore Adorno and all that, the popular movement, a revolutionary kind of movement, was underway in Germany and other parts of the world. But Theodoro, I don't know, even though they were very much, in support of the revolutionary ideas at that time, later I think, especially Adorno and all, turned out to be pessimistic in their nature and fall out of favor from the revolutionary groups because of his pessimism. I think it was later Habermas who brought about some kind of a change in their ideas and all. So their ideas overlapped with Italian scholar Antonio Gramsci's theory of cultural hegemony, which we have been discussing in connection with, uh, you know, in relation to Althusser's concept of, you know, ideology, as well as Raymond Williams, his contributions. One of the core concerns of the scholars of the Frankfurt School was the rise of mass culture. They objected to how technology led to a sameness in production and cultural experience. Technology allowed the public to sit passively before cultural content rather than actively, engage with one another for entertainment, as they had in the past. So, The scholars theorized that this experience made people intellectually inactive and politically passive, as they allowed mass produced ideologies and values to wash out them and infiltrate their consciousness. So, major concern for these thinkers was why revolution, which which may kind of changes in the condition of people, fail, and instead other movements like negative kinds of movements like the Holocaust or the Nazi Aryan supremacy theory, such kinds of things attract the people, which they were finding it very difficult to you know you know especially Adorno. He is uh, asserting he famously asserting that no poetry could be written after the Auschwitz or the concentration camps in the southwestern Poland, or his sense of the powerlessness of culture to prevent the barbarian or the Nazism or Holocaust, such kinds of phenomenon. It was it was all there in their conceptualizations of why such kinds of movement, mass kind of popular revolutionary kinds of movements fail, and instead other movements movements like Aryan supremacy or Nazi or fascist kind of movements get the limelight. That was what they were trying to understand, and I think in their formulations, especially Adorno, turned out to be a kind of a pessimistic in their approach towards theory. So some of the major figures in the Frankfurt School include, I'll read out the names of books and writers: Traditional and Critical Theory by Max Horkheimer, The Dialectic of Enlightenment by Max Horkheimer and Theodore Adorno, which one chapter we will be studying in the later discussions. Critique of Instrumental Reason by Max Horkheimer, The Authoritarian Personality, Theodore Adorno, Aesthetic Theory by Adorno, Culture Industry Reconsidered, Adorno. Culture industry is a popular term by Adorno, which we will be seeing in this the culture industry, enlightenment as mass deception. Then One Dimensional Man by Herbert Marcuse, The Aesthetic Dimension Toward a Critique of Marxist Aesthetics by Marcuse, The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction by Benjamin, Structural Transformation and the Public Sphere by Habermas. And Habermas, I think he is a very familiar figure. And there is another figure, Erich Fromm, who was theorizing about the fear of freedom. I do remember reading about him by an essay written by K.P. Appan, Malayalam literary critic, in his study of the work Dharma Puranam, the saga of Dharmaburi, in which he was talking about the fear of freedom. No? You can, if you are interested, you can read about them. So I was just trying to give you some kind of an introduction to the major figures. You can read much about them, and we will be discussing the other contributions later. Thank you.